Good afternoon, my dolly friends. Welcome to Little Midwest Reborns and Dolls. Today, I wanted to come on. I wanted to feature my beautiful Ellie, who is in pink, holding her kitty. I wanted you to see my sweet, sleeping Nicholas Parker, who is holding his lion in his hand, snuggling with his little lion. Today is the Saturday before Christmas. I just wanted to come on, say hello. Later, I will be reading A Charlie Brown Christmas to Ellie and to Nicholas. And we are going to be doing that because it is Play Day Saturday with Aunt Patricia over at Patricia's Dolly Dreams. So we are participating in Playday Saturday with Patricia. Now, guys, we are going to talk about funny things in life. One of these most funny things happens to be one of my favorite Christmas cookies. They are commonly called Russian tea cakes, Mexican wedding cakes, and snowball cookies. A dear friend and I, growing up, thought they were different cookies. My mother's cookbook was the Betty Crocker Christmas Cookie Cookbook. And in her cookbook, they were called Russian tea cakes. And these are little round balls, cookies that you make. They're rolled up. You use flour and butter. I'm not even sure if there's an egg in it. I truly don't remember, but it's flour and butter and powdered sugar. And then you roll them into these little, like 1 teaspoon size little balls. And you put them on the cookie sheet. They do not spread, and you bake them until they are set. When they come out, while they're warm, you roll them in powdered sugar. And then when they have completely cooled, you roll them again in powdered sugar. And that is why a lot of people call them a snowball cookie. It's because they look like little snowballs. Or they used to be called Mexican wedding cakes because they were little bitty, tiny little, and it looked like a little cake. Or in Russia, I guess these cookies were very good with tea, and they were called Russian tea cakes. So you had these little bitty. Now, here's the thing. My mother made them without nuts. My friend's mother put the nuts that the recipe calls for in them. And hers were called Mexican wedding cakes. And so from my friend Jane said, oh no, Russian tea cakes and Mexican wedding cakes are different cookies. And I can't eat them because they have nuts in them. And I said, no, these don't have nuts. And she's like, no, they always have nuts. And I said, well, the ones we eat don't have any nuts. Well, it turned out the recipe does call for chopped walnuts inside them. But my mother nuts were too expensive. She baked a lot of cookies, and she did not like nuts in her cookies. Therefore, there were no nuts in our Russian tea cakes. So it turns out they are all the same cookie, and guys, you can bake them with or without nuts. Another thing that I find funny about life is that all of us, when we are filming, myself included, we have complained about the light. We apologize for the lighting being bad. We worry about it. We talk about it. Here's the thing, guys. Whether the light's bad or not, we still publish the video and we still show it. So why are we apologizing? Now, I know that when we're really trying to show the details of our dolls and show the veining and the mottling and the various complexions that the artist has created, you know, and skin tones with our dolls, the different skin tones that are created. Yeah, we want to show how beautiful they are. But no camera's going to pick it up, guys. And some of us do have much better lighting than others, but I have decided, you know, I publish it anyway, and I am no longer going to apologize for the lighting in my videos, and I don't think anybody else should either. It is what it is. So let's stop apologizing and worrying about the lighting. Okay, other funny things. What are some of your other hobbies? Now, I'm going to go over mine. I know most of you probably already know this because I've talked about it before. But I do have new subscribers, and they don't know about these things. So I'm going to touch on them. One is fish keeping. All of my life since my daughter won our first goldfish at a church fair, I got into fish keeping, and that was probably back in 94, 96, somewhere in that range. And so I've been keeping fish off and on. Now, at first, I kept them in fish bowls. I know that's a very taboo subject, especially among serious fish keepers. I didn't know any better. I didn't know it was bad for the fish. I didn't know that keeping a fish in the fishbowl would be like keeping a child inside a closet and saying, well, it survived and we fed it, but did it thrive? No. And that's why there's this big push for even betta fish or beta fish, whichever you want to call them, the Siamese fighting fish, that they should be kept in the minimum of a 5-gallon aquarium. And that, well, you can keep them in a 3. You can keep them in a 3, and that is permissible. But 5-gallon is optimal, and they should have plants, whether fake or real, around so they can hide and feel secure. And they should have a heater. They shouldn't just be kept in cold water. And yeah, so. And I kept fish like that, and then I decided I really wanted to get into fish keeping. And I got the biggest aquarium I felt I could handle, which was a standard 20-gallon aquarium. And here we are, a little over 4.5 years later, and I no longer have any fish in the aquarium. I had lots of fish die, lots of different kinds, lots of different plants. Experimented with dirted tanks, non-dirted tanks, different for, you name it, I tried it. And getting the balance right and creating a true ecosystem in a glass box is very challenging. And I understand and I know the concept and I get the steps that you go through, but I was never successful at it. And instead of me enjoying it and feeling, oh boy, okay, so this is a challenge. So I had this problem. I had too much algae, so I'll do this to correct that problem. And then it got to be too much. I just wanted to watch the fish swim in the water. So I am going back to very simple fish keeping, which was fish in the box if they require a heater, fine, fake plants, and turn the light on when I want to watch my fishy swim, and the rest of the time the light is out. We're good. And right now I just have I have 3 fish, and there's just rocks in there and a decoration, and it's fine. So that is a hobby. My other hobby is I like to collect things. I collect teapots. Now I'm collecting Charlie bears. I used to collect Boyd's bears, but not the stuffs, not the stuffed ones. I collected what they called the bear stones, so the figurines. Love them, have tons of them. Precious moments is another thing I collected. I also enjoy adult coloring. I've only tried it though with pencils. And I have friends, and there's many other things that say you really ought to try the alcohol markers. You don't have to press as hard. You get much bolder color, and it gives you a different look. So I might try those very soon, but I haven't yet, guys. The other thing I enjoy doing is reading. I like to read all different types of books. Some are nonfiction, some are fiction, some are romance, some are thrillers. Yeah, I used to like a lot of John Grisham novels. I read a lot of Danielle Steele. I read a lot of Beverly Lewis. I have my most favorite books in the entire world. Whether you're an adult or a child, I do not care. The Laura Ingalls Wilder books, the Little House books, Little House on the Prairie, Little House in the Big Woods, Farmer Boy, Little House on the Prairie, Little House on the Banks of Plum Creek. I loved the Laura Ingalls Wilder books. Huge fan. And I love to read. And I read all kinds of different things. So I'm looking for a new book to read. Not sure what I want. I've also learned this lesson. There are books that I have read that I started the book and I thought, well, it'll get better. And I finished the book thinking it never got better. Well, at 61, the lesson I have learned is if you begin reading the book and you get into the 5th or 6th chapter and you're still not enjoying it, donate the book and move on, or return it to the library and get a different book. You don't have to finish the book. You're not writing a report. Your teacher isn't going to know. The world is not going to know that you didn't complete reading that particular book. So put it down and go read something you enjoy. Another thing that I have started and stopped probably 10,000 times in my life is cross stitch. At one time, I did complete some very small projects, but right now, nope, no cross stitch. Although I have some things I picked up and a pattern and the thread and everything I need to do something, but I haven't done it yet. And another thing I've noticed about myself. All of my life, I grew up in church. I grew up always knowing about Jesus Christ and the apostles and following him. But it really wasn't until I was in my 30s that I truly came to God as an adult on my own. And I came to him and I was very strong. And then you know what I've discovered about myself? Sometimes I'm really strong in Christ and I really follow and I really read my devotions and I read his Bible and I'm in Bible studies, and other times I'm very weak. And I still pray and I still believe, but sometimes I just kind of, and I'm at just got over a week period of time. But I'm back. Now, when my husband passed and that, I was in a very strong, and even for several years after his passing. But I'm going to say within the last 12 months, I've been kind of weak in my spiritual walk, but I'm back. And I'm glad to say that I'm back. And the next couple things I wanted to touch on, just for fun, is, do you have a favorite Christmas movie? I know the other day people were asking about your favorite Christmas song. I don't really have a favorite Christmas song. There's too many that I love to pick a favorite. But with Christmas movies, I've got it narrowed down to two. One is A Charlie Brown Christmas. I love A Charlie Brown Christmas. The other one is A Christmas Carol. Love it. My most favorite two versions are the one with Reginald Owen and the one with Alistair Sim. Those are my favorite versions of A Christmas Carol. Although I will tell you, A Muppet Christmas Carol is quite good as well. So I have kept you long enough, my dolly friends. Ellie and Nicholas are ready for me to stop talking, Mommy, and read them A Charlie Brown Christmas. So I better get going. But before I go, I do have a question for you. What do you get if you cross Santa with a detective? Santa Claus! Guys, have a wonderful, beautiful rest of your Saturday. Take care, my dolly friends. Bye-bye.